Right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I sort of hear a trainer coming after a style. That's it. Oh, yes. Oh, it's a scary sight, isn't it? Um, right, some of you know that I'm a member of St Mary's Model Railway Club. It's a strange sort of club that's attached to the church. Some of the members are members of the church, and a lot of them aren't. And it's a jolly good club. And we play with train. No, we work with model railways, and we thoroughly enjoy ourselves. Now, you lot know that I've been unwell, and I missed a very, very important occasion. I missed the fourth annual model railway exhibition held by St Mary's Model Railway Club. And I'm very sorry to have missed it because it was a wonderful event with lots of model railways and lots of bacon rolls and fun and games had by all. Now, a chap wandered along to the exhibition, and he said, "Look, I've got some old model railway stuff. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to throw it away. I would like someone to have it who will cherish it." So today I went to see this gentleman. No names, no pack drill. We'll just say that his first name was Tim. A smashing chap, delightful lady wife. We spent far too much time gassing as men of a certain age sometimes do. And the long and the short of it is that Tim has very kindly donated to St Mary's Model Railway Club some rather lovely stuff. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move things around a bit and change some lights, and then I'm going to show you what Tim has very generously donated to the club. Well, it's always fun when you've got a box, isn't it? Because, boxes, they could contain anything. It could be King John's crown jewels recovered from the wash. It could be, you could open it and a joke snake might jump out. So boxes are always fun. And as we open this box, immediately we start to see some interesting things. We'll move that out of the way. That's a power supply. Always good to have a power supply when you've got electric trains. Now, do we all know what this is? This is a loading gauge, and the idea of a loading gauge is it sits over the track at the exit to a goods yard, and if the train is loaded badly, it will rattle that and the train will be reloaded before it goes out and knocks bridges over and things like that. So that's a nice thing. This is a genuine Hornby 00 made by Meccano. So that's a lovely thing to have. And a signal. Not any old signal, but an electrically controlled signal, which will allow me to stop and start trains and do things how it should be done on a proper railway. And there's a little switch that goes with signals and such likes. These are what I would call buffer stops. They're sprung loaded. The idea is that in sidings they go on the end of the line and stop things from going off the end. We have 3 of those. Then we've got some rather lovely wagons. Now these are of an era that we think of as being tin plate. If you look, that's printed or painted, printed on tin or steel, formed steel. And these are, again, they're Hornby, made by Meccano. Rather lovely. They no appreciable damage or knocky aboutedness. You know, it doesn't look to me like gangs of marauding children have battered them. So that's what we would call a guard's van or a brake van. So that would normally find itself on the end of a train of wagons of some sort. Now this one is a horse box. So that's a nice thing to have if you're going to run trains to somewhere like Newmarket, where there's race courses. There's another horse box, lovely looking, you know, very clean, very nice condition. Then we have a North Eastern Railways 10-ton fish van. Well, that will be useful for running to Grimsby or somewhere, won't it? Again, in lovely condition. And, well, an Esso tanker wagon. Sort of thing that will be loaded with petrol or gasoline, aviation spirit, something like that. Now, if we like looking at things like that, we ought to look in some boxes, didn't we? Have you ever noticed when you try to make a video, boxes that opened ever so easily earlier just don't open? Hang on a moment. That's better, we got that box open. Look at this, an absolutely beautiful 2-arm signal. Again, it's an electrically operated one. What a lovely, lovely thing, in cracking condition. I haven't yet put any electric onto it to see if it works, but we could do, because we've got a couple of controllers, and these controllers are they're actually rather wonderful. They used to supply these that you connected them to a 12-volt battery or a 12-volt power supply. So even though it's very old, and you might think electrically, do you really want to know about a piece of electricity that's as old as this? Well, why not? It's a 12-volt thing. Try as you might, you ain't going to blow too much up with a 12-volt system. So that's a lovely, I say lovely thing, one of a lovely pair of things. And then we get into things in the box. A Duchess of Atholl. Atholl. Now, the colour of this, it's a London, Midland and Scottish locomotive. I don't know if it works. I know how to find out if it works. We'll be doing that possibly tomorrow morning. But what a beautiful, beautiful piece of Hornby engineering. We'll pop that down there, because with it, of course, being a big engine, it has a tender that goes behind. LMS, of course, stands for London, Midland and Scottish, and I know folk like Sewing Man can tell me more about LMS than I ever knew. But for some of you, you know, Shade Tree Railroad Man, folk like that, this is possibly a foreign language. London, Midland and Scottish Railway. Correct me if I'm wrong, 1928 to 1948. They ran a quarter of the railways in Britain. Interestingly, the railway at the bottom of the road here was London, Midland and Scottish. But a big engine like a Duchess wouldn't have been running through Chalkwell. It would have been going on big journeys to exciting places. And to go with it, we have two beautiful London, Midland and Scottish coaches, which you know, they are lovely. Now, somewhere in my hoard of stuff, I do have a third London, Midland and Scottish coach that I will fish out to go with these. Because, of course, a Duchess doesn't pull 2 carriages. A Duchess pulls 12, 13, 15 carriages. Yeah, okay. Might have to make do with 2 or 3 for now. But the joy goes on, because not only do we have this Duchess, but in this little box we have an old favourite, a little N2 in gloss paint in British Rail colours. And again, this has... It must have been played with by nice children, because look, it's still got its sticker on the back. It's in lovely, lovely condition. Yeah, how about that? Again, I shall test it and service it before we try to run it, but I see no reason why that shouldn't take its place pulling some wagons. And well, of course, you can't have a railway without some rails. This is an interesting device that you use for railing wagons and things. You pop this on the track and then you run wagons down it, and a goodly collection of track. I'll extract all of this and see what's actually there. I can see there's some points, or you know, I know some of you prefer to call them switches or turnouts or things, but no, these are points. There's a nice collection of stuff there, plenty for me to get quite excited about and to build a layout. So that was rather a lovely way of spending some time this afternoon, talking to this chap Tim and his lovely wife, and collecting on behalf of the club this lovely collection of bits and pieces, which will be used. I will service these. I will pull them apart and straighten 1 or 2 bits and check the brushes and check the armatures and lightly oil them, all that sort of thing. And then, yeah, we'll put them to work.